Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important in addiction counseling, but also really helpful for understanding human behavior in general. We're talking about behavior modification and reinforcement theory, how our actions are shaped, why certain habits stick, and how we can help people build healthier patterns in recovery. Reinforcement theory basically says that we repeat behaviors that feel rewarding and avoid ones that feel uncomfortable. It focuses on what we do, not what we think or feel internally. This is why it's used in classrooms, workplaces, parenting, and of course, therapy. There are a few main types of reinforcement: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. We use these every day, even when we don't realize it. The law of effect helps explain all of this. It says that if a behavior leads to a satisfying result, we're more likely to repeat it. If it doesn't, we're less likely to do it again. This idea is at the heart of behavior modification and helps us understand why addiction becomes so deeply reinforced over time. In addiction, reinforcement plays a huge role. Positive reinforcement might be the pleasurable effects of substances, while negative reinforcement might be the temporary relief from stress, anxiety, or emotional pain. But in therapy, we shift that reinforcement toward healthier behaviors, like attending sessions, journaling, practicing coping skills, or showing up clean and sober. Reducing stressors or triggers can also strengthen healthy behavior, which is another form of reinforcement. Sometimes people change their behavior to avoid a negative outcome, like avoiding legal trouble or conflict. This avoidance can help in the short term, but it isn't usually strong enough to create long-term change. Real transformation happens when people feel rewarded, supported, and encouraged in healthier directions. Punishment can reduce unwanted behaviors, but it comes with risks. It doesn't teach new behaviors, and it can create fear, shame, or resentment. It also has to be applied very consistently to even work. Reinforcement, especially positive reinforcement, is far more effective at building lasting change. There's a helpful guideline called the 5-to-1 rule. For every one corrective interaction, aim to offer 5 positive ones. This keeps people motivated and emotionally safe. Another helpful tool is shaping, which means reinforcing small steps toward a bigger goal. This is incredibly useful in addiction counseling, where clients often need to relearn coping skills, communication strategies, or stress management techniques. You break the goal into steps and reinforce progress gradually until the full behavior is established. Reinforcement principles show up everywhere, in classrooms, workplaces, and therapy. For example, a psychology professor's pacing was reduced simply by students reinforcing him whenever he stood center stage. Incentive programs in workplaces often reduce turnover and boost motivation. In addiction counseling, reinforcing even small steps of progress can help clients stay engaged and build confidence early in recovery. Reinforcement works because it strengthens new neural pathways. Punishment might stop a behavior temporarily, but it doesn't build a new one. When we reward healthy choices consistently, people feel empowered, motivated, and capable of creating real change. Over time, this supports long-term recovery and personal growth. Of course, reinforcement needs to be ethical and thoughtful. Rewards should be meaningful, respectful, and not manipulative. They should be personalized and offered promptly. And while positive reinforcement is powerful, sometimes rewards lose value over time, which is why ongoing evaluation is important. Reinforcement theory gives us a practical, compassionate framework for understanding behavior and creating real change, especially in addiction recovery. When used with intention and empathy, it helps people break old patterns, build healthier habits, and strengthen their sense of resilience and self-worth. Think of behavior modification as a toolkit. These tools help us replace old patterns with healthier, more aligned ones. One example is positive reinforcement. This simply means rewarding the behaviors you want to grow. For instance, if you're trying to build a morning routine, you might reward yourself with something small and enjoyable, like your favorite latte or a few minutes of quiet reading, every time you follow through. Over time, your brain starts to associate that behavior with a positive outcome, making it more likely to stick. Another tool is negative reinforcement. And to be clear, this isn't about punishment. This is about removing something uncomfortable when you engage in the behavior you want to encourage. Let's say clutter stresses you out. Every time you spend 5 minutes cleaning, that feeling of stress starts to lift. The relief becomes a reinforcement that keeps you motivated. We also have habit stacking. This means attaching a new behavior to something you already do every day. An example might be starting an exercise regimen after eating a healthy green smoothie, or after you brush your teeth, you immediately say your daily affirmation. When you link the two, your brain treats the new habit as part of your existing routine, making it much easier to remember and maintain. Cognitive reframing is another powerful technique. This is when you shift the way you speak to yourself around a behavior. Instead of saying, I have to go to the gym, you say, I choose to move my body because it makes me feel good. That simple shift changes the emotional tone and can dramatically influence motivation. Somatic techniques also play a huge role. Your body stores memory and tension, so bringing in breath work, grounding exercises, or gentle movement helps regulate your nervous system. For example, placing a hand on your heart and taking slow breaths before a difficult task or conversation can help you respond instead of react. And then there's self-monitoring. This is where you track your own behaviors, maybe through a journal, voice memos, or an app. When you bring awareness to your patterns, you naturally start making better choices because you can finally see what's going on. All of these strategies work together to help reprogram your subconscious and support long-term change. Behavior modification isn't about forcing yourself, it's about gently retraining your brain and body to support the life you want. Reinforcement theory offers a practical, structured framework for behavior change in addiction counseling. When applied ethically and strategically, it helps foster lasting behavioral transformation, resilience, and self-efficacy. Limitations and ethical considerations. While positive reinforcement is powerful, its effectiveness can wane if rewards lose value. Reinforcement must be individualized and meaningful. Ethical application requires transparency and respect. Cautions. Positive punishment often evokes fear or resentment. Rewards should follow desired behaviors promptly. Avoid manipulative or coercive use of reinforcement. If you want more videos like this, where we break down psychology and mental health concepts into simple, real-world conversations, make sure to subscribe, like, and drop your questions below. If you're inspired to take the next step in your education and professional development, Liberated Learning offers over 40 internationally accredited certification programs in holistic wellness. Our certifications provide eligibility for holistic provider licensing and board certification. Each program includes professional online training, an internationally accredited diploma, a comprehensive therapy workbook, and a turnkey business model designed for immediate practice success. Our flexible learning pathways empower practitioners to launch fulfilling careers while working remotely from anywhere in the world. Begin your transformation today and receive a free workbook to recode subconscious beliefs or heal PTSD at www.liberateedliving.com free therapy workbook. Explore 40+ holistic programs, liberatedliving.com programs. Apply as a holistic professional.